Alright guys, time to be back again today. Hope you're enjoying your Sunday so far, and well, oh well, do we have a lot of storylines to discuss today. 6 matches went down last night, very interesting results in a number of them as we will get into, but also the final series of the day being OGLA versus the Florida Mutineers. Definitely a lot of stuff came out about this regarding Slasher and not wanting to play next year if it does happen to be online, which he thinks might be even quite likely, talking about some of the internet issues that the pros have to face in the current scene, and then of course looking forward to the $4.6 million World Championship not too long away. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate. Also big thanks to EasyMac for the scoreboards we're going to be going through in today's video, and the first series of the day was the New York Subliners versus the Dallas Empire. This is one I expected the Subliners to just about edge out, thought it was going to be a close series, but that's not how things transpired at all. Game number 1, Dallas Empire took this 250-219 here on Gunrunner. Definitely expected, Subliners aren't so great at this map, and Dallas Empire is a pretty damn solid map for them, but the game 2 is where things, well, the series really started to fall into place, because Shotzi had a crazy 1v3 on this one, got a kill through the smoke, like killed the guy off the bomb, waited out the second guy, and then ran out the time. Dallas Empire win this 6-4, and then they go on to a gunrunner domination where really Subliners aren't particularly strong, as we will see later in the day as well. Subliners very good at the Hackney Yard domination, but here on Gunrunner definitely wasn't ideal for them, and the Dallas Empire win this series in a comfortable 3-0. Definitely a couple of these maps were close at times, it could have gone in a different direction, but given Subliners are your reigning champions, and a team that's 3-0'd basically everyone last weekend and was coming off a 12 map win streak, I definitely expected them to put up a better fight than this. Dallas Empire move on to the semi-finals pretty much uncontested, and Subliners move down to losers where they will face a hot Paris Legion later in the day, and we'll talk about exactly how that series did go as well. So very interesting game 1, and as you can see on the scoreboard here, Clay with a 1.1, 1.2, Crim with a 1.1, and who can, well, the rest of the guys didn't even have to have a particularly good series in terms of the scoreboard, because New York was just nowhere near them on the majority of the maps. Very interesting stuff. Then game 2 was Mutineers versus Royal Ravens, and this was a cracking series, especially as a London fan. Mutineers just dominated the first couple of maps. Here on Azir Cave, the slang was out of control. Scraps was the only one putting up numbers on London, and Mutineers just ran through them here on the Azir Cave. But game 2 continued the story. 6-3 on Piccadilly, the map where Mutineers had just beaten OGLA in that game 5 round 11 yesterday. Ravens, they came up with some new strats, but Mutineers were clearly the dominant force, and then they were going in to the St. Petrograd domination, and this was the map where I was like, okay, it's over, like 3-0, like whatever. You just can't beat Florida Mutineers on the St. Petrograd. However, apparently you can, even if it's like 10% of the time or 20% of the time that it actually happens. Dylan took over this game at the end, reminiscent of Reciprocity versus LG. I believe maybe it was Anaheim, or I forget exactly what event it was last year, but that frequency hardpoint where he goes like 24-2 to finish out the game, reminiscent of that. He hasn't really done much this entire year, but he pulls out a 10 streak at the opportune moment, giving Ravens the opportunity to take this series by the horns. They win this game very close indeed, make a big comeback. They were only leading for like 20 seconds, the final 20 seconds of the game, but they make the win work over Mutineers, which is crazy given how good this map is for the Mutineers. Then going into a gunrunner hardpoint, which is very good for the Ravens, and the latter half of this series definitely favoured them. So they win the hardpoint 250-207, and then go into game 5 on Arkloff Peak. Certainly now London were considered favourites in my eyes. Couple of early rounds went either way. They definitely threw one away where Zero naded his own teammate, but towards the end of the game it's so valuable to have a guy like Waskin on your team who can just get you a pick at any part of the game and, well, take over the map. And they did that indeed here, so 6-4 to finish off the job. Ravens complete the reverse sweep on Mutineers, their first series loss with this new team with Awakening in it. They go down to losers. Ravens, looking to defend their own home territory, move on to the semi-finals. Crazy series from them, and yeah, the fact that they won this domination given how bad Ravens are at it was honestly a remarkable feat, and we'll have to see how they continue on in the tournament, because we'll look at exactly their bracket later. I did tweet this out because I was kind of sad that, well, we didn't get to see this in the copper box, because that would have been just fantastic, but it is what it is. And Waskin talks about how, they had red boxes, they had like to change some server issues, and well, Frosty says that as well. Cheeky server switch for London, respectable, not particularly happy with the situation as it transpires, but well, as we'll look at later today, there was some more server issues on the horizon. This is how it finished off. Pharaoh with a 1.3 despite losing the series, Skies with a 1.2, Havoc doesn't have a great one, and Scraps with a 1.25. The slaying was out of control for London at times, especially in those ladder maps, but it really was the search and destroy where things came down to business. Scraps with a 1.6 over the course of it. Then we had a losers bracket match, LAG versus the Paris Legion, and this one I was expecting LAG to maybe close it out in a game 5. They do win the first map 250-226, but then game 2, Paris just come out swinging. They win 6-0 on this Arkloff Peak search and destroy. Not what I was expecting, given LAG are a very good map at this, a very good team at this map, to be honest, but Luke with the sniper in hand is very, very deadly at times. And then then the next two maps, they're closing out pretty comfortably in this domination, and then the game 4 was very close again. LAG looking solid in their respawns, but Paris do manage to make it work just about on this St. Petrograd. So once again, last time Paris Legion 3-0'd LAG, this time it was a 3-1, but regardless, they move on in the tournament, and LAG really aren't having the best time of things as of late. I think they've gone all the way down to 12th back again, and yeah, it's just not looking great for them, especially when Champs is on the horizon. Maybe it's time for Paddy P to make his return. 1.4 for Dens over the course of it, so yeah, impressive slaying, to be honest. Very consistent stuff out of Paris, which is definitely what you want to see. When you have pretty consistent slaying across the board, when you're winning a series, that definitely shows that you're playing the game in the right way, in my opinion. But then we had another losers bracket matchup. We had OpTic Gaming versus the Seattle Surge, you know, pretty hotly anticipated one given all the Seattle stuff that happened yesterday. An OGLA closed out map number 1, 250 to 223. They looked pretty solid in this one, and game 2 they continued the story. This was an unbelievable map 2. This just showed exactly what Seattle Surge are made of, the fact that it's just Octane versus the rest, because he had an unbelievable 4 versus 1 on this map. I'll put it on screen for you guys right now. Gets the first 2 kills from the top window, kills the guy like looking over the bomb guy, and then brings out the knife to finish off the job. Remarkable clutch, and of course this was the only map, the only round they won this entire map. They lose 6-1, and you know, I would just have been so demoralized at this point if I was Octane and the rest of the Seattle Surge, especially given what happened yesterday and the fact that you have to pull off a 1v4 to even win a single round in a search and destroy. But then they do bounce back in the Hackney Yard domination, but OGLA close it out regardless when they go to the hard point. So Seattle fall out of the tournament once again without picking up a point. Of course, it was a tough run yesterday they had against London, but you know, were they going to win that series anyway? Arguably no, even if the situation hadn't have gone down as it has. OGLA move on then, and Seattle drop out of the tournament in another disappointing finish. We'll have to look at the end of this weekend exactly how the standings look after this weekend has finished off. Slasher with a 1.13, Octane with a 1.3, but just nothing happening for the rest of his team apart from Slack to put up something of a fight, but they go out of the tournament once again. Then we have Legion versus Subliners, and here I was expecting, okay, Subliners to probably bounce back and get the better of the Legion, but it doesn't happen like that. Game 1, 250-242, very close fought affair. Paris managed to break into that P2 right at the end. ZooMaa almost made the play to make New York Subliners win the game, but doesn't happen. Legion break in when it matters, 250-242. Then in the game 2, 6-2 on this St. Petrograd. Kismet had a nice little 1v2 in this one. Even though Subliners went up 1-0, Paris are just so good at this map. Luca with the sniper in hand is always going to be a force as well. And then once again, they go to this gun runner domination where clearly Subliners are not particularly good. Like Hackney Yard is pretty solid for them, but the fact that they lost to this map on, well, to the Dallas Empire and also to the Paris Legion shows that this isn't really a comfort spot for them. And they go out of this tournament after winning 12 maps straight. They then lose 6 straight, including 3 in a row to the Paris Legion. Honestly, remarkable scenes. Was last weekend just a fluke? Is online Call of Duty just crazy? Is Paris Legion much improved? Who knows what's going on exactly, but clearly we have to rejig exactly what our power rankings look like with Subliners losing a couple of tournaments like this, because it's certainly not what I was expecting indeed. This is how the series standings look like. 10 better 1.08, but the slaying from Luca especially, and then the search and destroy, it was just out of control. You know, Zed and Kismet definitely had their highlight moments as well. I also just wanted to look at this tweet from earlier in the weekend with Pac-Man and Nameless talking about how, you know, the Paris Legion didn't make a roster change because they lost that first map 250 to like 73 or whatever versus the Dallas Empire. People were saying like, look, they should have made a change, but they definitely shut some people up, I think, with this result getting to the semi-finals. Then we have the final series of the day, that being OGLA versus the Florida Mutineers. Game 1 was a pretty crazy one, 250-239. This is such a good map for the Mutineers as we talked about yesterday, but this time OGLA make it work. But then we go into the game 2 and, well, Havoc had a crazy 4-piece to almost finish off the game, and, well, he could have had the ace once again as he did yesterday or the day before on this map, but 6-3 regardless. Mutineers tie up the series, and then this domination was crazy because, of course, this matchup, we had it on the first day. It went to the game 5 round 11 on the Piccadilly. This time around, it doesn't quite go the distance, but this was an insane domination. I just want to bring up, well, I'll bring up a clip on screen for you guys, but I just had this here to remind myself of exactly what happened to the spawns. Keep an eye on number 1 on the minimap here, where it looks like OGLA completely have B and, well, the B side and the C side completely locked down, but somehow player number 1 just spawns over there, gets an easy neutral. It's just like, what is going on? I cannot actually believe that OGLA lost the game like that, because that really was a difference maker, and it's just so frustrating to see. That's genuinely one of the worst spawns I've seen this entire year, and I can't imagine that it's any other way than the logic is intended for it to be like that. So anyway, Mutineers win this 157-154, and then the game 4 as a cave. Like, this is such a good map for the Mutineers right now. They close this out 250-159, and the game 5 Piccadilly isn't even required once again. So Mutineers move on, OGLA fall out, kind of as you might expect, given the Mutineers did lose the series to London. Like, OGLA, you would expect to lose. But, you know, then again, this is what follows up. So, Slasher says, I'm playing with red boxes still. I think there was even a screen grab from the Azir cave where you could see the red boxes. So, like, on the left-hand side of your screen shows your lagging type of thing. You can actually see them on screen. And, you know, nothing could possibly make me more pissed off than the continuous disrespect this league has shown my team. And Kenny says, he played Pick My Poison today. So, he's, like, doing some screenshots of seeing how his latency is 55 with, like, 2% packet loss. And then here it's 100 latency with 0% packet loss, and Slasher then tweets this out having 100 latency with 76% packet loss to the servers that they're playing, and this is like absolutely unplayable. So yeah, certainly they're not particularly happy with this one, and Slasher then follows it up with, barring a miracle, it will more than likely be online next year, so maybe this situation won't even be resolved by then. I have a lot to think about, more than likely will take time off. I will not put myself through this anymore. We suffer because their central south servers can't properly work. Some discussion here between Octane and Slasher. You know, player with red boxes are on 100+ ping to Chicago. Choose wisely. And yeah, Kenny has a follow-up to this as well. Just wanted to share this clip on screen with Slasher talking about exactly what's going on here. Pretty sad to see.
I will heavily consider retiring for, I mean, probably not forever, but until LAN comes back if next year's online. I can't put myself through this anymore. I can't continue to play, you know, 10 hours a day to not even have a fair chance to, like, showcase my talent. It's one thing if, you know, you give it your all and you lose and you just weren't good enough, but it's another thing if you don't even get a chance to give it your all.
Then again, on the other side of things, Waskin says, like, look, Formal's playing 100+ ping from Cali, and, well, he's still frying people, right? So, look, it's just a frustrating situation all around. And this is how we looked over the course of it, like a 1.5 for Pharaoh, 1.4 for Awakening, 1.43 for Skies. Yeah, Florida definitely had a field day in this one in the respawns. This is what the overall KDs look like then going into the championship Sunday. Pharaoh, Skies, Shotzzy, Clay, you know, Octane, of course, with a 1.23, but no longer in the tournament, unfortunately. Most these guys still in the tourney though, so definitely exciting times ahead on this championship Sunday. And this is the schedule for tonight. So 2 PM everything kicks off as Eastern time, 11 AM at Pacific, 7 PM my time here at BST, but there is a Warzone weekend going on just before that. Intrigued to hear your thoughts down below. Lots of interesting points for discussion, I believe, today. What do you think about what Slash is saying, and what does this mean for next season? Thanks for watching as always. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new. I will see you next time.